That simply means it is statistically visible, it's statistically significant at this level. So we made an extract to discuss this result. Now this the result extract from our Eviews. Of course, you can see that this is GDP. GDP is 0.23. That simply means it is positively related. And based on what we discussed, that once a value is 0.3, what becomes the outcome? So let's go back to our decision rule. So you can see here, that simply means it says in 4 that if in 4 when the value lies between 0.29 and below, that simply means that our correlation is very weak. We have a weak correlation, a very weak correlation, but it is positive. It's positive, but is very weak at that level. That is for Italy. For Italy, that simply means there's a weak positive correlation or a very low positive correlation at this point. So the interpretation says this correlation result shows that there is a positive correlation at 0.23, given that the correlation is low. Again, the probability value of at 0.03 means that the correlation statistically stable, given that 0.03 is less than 0.5. So the correlation result is positively correlated. That simply means our value and our variable is relevant to the study. Government expenditure is relevant, GDP is relevant to the study, but it is very low. That simply means that in economic sense, we could say that GDP or government expenditure have not contributed much to government government expenditure have not contributed more to GDP in Italy, but it is stable and simply means we can use it for analytical purpose. You can see here, statistically justification means that the variable, which is gross domestic product, is stable and can be used for analytical purpose. Yes, so it can be used for analytical purpose. So let's go to Eviews. Let's go to Eviews again. Okay, good. Now, kindly note that if I interchange the variables, it will still give me the same thing. Remember that the first variable, okay, recall that the first variable we looked at government expenditure is top and GDP is down. So irrespective of how you put your variable, it will still give you the same outcome. So let's go to Eviews. Let's try making government expenditure to be down while GDP is up and see the outcome. So I'll go to Phi and I'll go to Italy, work Phi. Now what do? I'll select this. I'll select this is GDP, and I'll select government expenditure. I'll go to view, open, selected, one window and group. Good. I'll say yes. Now I have my government expenditure displays. I may decide to rename this, but I may decide to, but let me not rename. Let me not rename. But let's rename. I want to rename this because I'm a little bit confused. But let me put this way. So PI is GDP. So I'll change it to GDP. GDP. Oh, good. So I'll say okay. Okay. And try this again. So GDP. Okay, it has changed, so I prefer renaming it for easy. So I'll name this to government expenditure. So government expenditure, use GEX. So government expenditure. Good. So I think I can understand my variable now. So I want government expenditure to be up. So I highlight this, I also highlight this, and I'll go to view. I'll say select open one window group, say yes. Okay, so this is it, and I'll go to my view. I'm just trying to rerun the test one more time. So I'll unlist this and I'll click on correlation and probability, and I'll say okay. So you can see this is the same outcome. The same outcome is giving me the same outcome here, the same outcome here, and that is it. So that's just the outcome. So you can see here the same outcome. I may decide to try it one more time. So let me go to this. So you can see that this outcome is this way. And so what else do I do? Okay. All right. So we want to conduct a plot graph now. We want to plot a graph for this. As I said, part of is that correlation analysis is symmetric, that is x and y. So what do? I go to quick, I'll go to graph. This is graph, it's already highlighted. This is my government expenditure, this is my GDP. I press OK and I'll wait for it. Okay, good. Now I'll go to graph type. I want to use scattered graph, and I'll go to this column where I want to use this none. I'll change it to regression line and I'll say okay. Now you can see the results. So this is my results, this is GDP, and this is government expenditure. And let's look at the interpretation. Now this is extracted. You can see here that the lines, the lines here, kind of the lines were correlated here. You can see these lines here. The line moving from this place shows that is highly correlated, and we can see here these shows these are the symmetric nature, which shows that GDP at this level and government expenditure, they are closely related to each other and they are asymmetric. So you can see that GDP at this level have an asymmetric relationship with government expenditure, and so that defines that procedure. And so we can make the interpretation and say that there is a closely linear relationship between government expenditure and GDP from the graph. So the graph tells us that there is a closely linear relationship because you can see